This isn't a comeback announcement. It's a line being drawn. After nearly a decade away from American stages, Britney Spears has quietly signaled something far more unexpected. Not a return to the spotlight as we knew it, but a deliberate shift away from it. No tour dates, no grand rollout, just a message, a piano, and a future that appears to be pointing somewhere else entirely. And the most revealing part of this story isn't where she says she won't perform. It's how, where, and with whom she hints she might. Stay with this, because the meaning behind this announcement becomes clearer the deeper you look. The message arrived without fanfare. Late Thursday night, Britney Spears shared a series of Instagram posts that immediately caught attention, not because they were loud, but because they were unusually specific. A throwback image from the 2002 American Music Awards, a quiet photo beside a white Yamaha piano, and a sentence that landed with unexpected finality. "I will never perform in the US again." No countdown, no press release, just a statement, framed not as a threat or protest, but as a boundary. According to publicly available information, this marks the first time Spears has so directly closed the door on U.S. performances since stepping back from touring in 2018. And while fans quickly focused on the shock of the wording, the deeper story appears to be about control, authorship, and what performing means to her now. Because in the very same breath, she hinted that performing itself may not be over at all, just relocated. To understand why this matters, context is essential. Britney Spears has not taken the stage in the United States since October 2018, when she concluded her Piece of Me run with a performance at the Formula One Grand Prix in Austin, Texas. At the time, there was no public declaration of retirement, only silence. Shortly afterward, her second Las Vegas residency, Domination, was announced. Expectations were high. Then, before the first show ever opened, it was canceled. In a message to fans at the time, Spears said the decision was rooted in family priorities. It was framed as temporary, understandable, human. What no one knew then was that this pause would stretch into years, and that when she finally addressed performing again, it wouldn't sound like a negotiation. It would sound like closure. One of the most overlooked details in this announcement is the piano. Spears shared an image of herself seated beside a white Yamaha and wrote that she would be sending it to her son this year. No elaborate caption, no explanation beyond that. But when paired with what followed, the symbolism becomes hard to ignore. She went on to describe a vision, not of arenas or residencies, but of sitting on a stool, wearing a red rose in her hair, performing with her son in the UK and Australia. That's not a stadium fantasy, that's an intimate one. According to previous interviews and social media posts, Spears has spoken openly about her son Jaden's musical talent, particularly his piano abilities. She has even referred to him as exceptionally gifted. So when she says she hopes to perform with her son not for an audience, it reframes the entire idea of what performing means in this chapter. This isn't about ticket sales, it's about agency. Before revealing her stance on U.S. performances, Spears addressed another topic that frequently circulates online: her dance videos. These short clips often spark debate. Some see them as playful, others project concern. Spears, however, offered her own explanation, calmly and without defensiveness. She said she dances to heal parts of her body that people know nothing about, that it can feel embarrassing at times, and that movement played a role in helping her survive a period she described as deeply difficult. Importantly, she did not ask for interpretation or approval. She offered context, and in doing so, she subtly shifted the conversation away from speculation and towards something more grounded. Self-expression as personal recovery, not public performance. This distinction matters because it suggests that stepping away from U.S. stages is not about fear of being seen, but about choosing how and why she is seen. Spears cited extremely sensitive reasons for her decision not to perform in the United States again. She did not elaborate, and from a responsible standpoint, it's important not to speculate beyond what she has chosen to share. However, using protective language and publicly known context, it's reasonable to say this. Her relationship with the American entertainment industry has been complex, deeply personal, and widely documented over many years. Returning to that environment may carry emotional or logistical weight that simply isn't present elsewhere. By contrast, her mention of the UK and Australia is notable. These regions have historically hosted artists seeking a different pace, audience relationship, or creative reset. This isn't unprecedented, it's intentional. At first glance, "I will never perform in the US again" sounds like an ending. But taken as a whole, this announcement reads more like a redefinition. She did not say she would never sing again. She did not say she would never be on stage again. She did not say she was done with music. She described a future that is smaller, quieter, and more personally meaningful. A stool instead of a stage. A sun instead of a spotlight. A piano instead of choreography. For an artist whose career has long been associated with spectacle, this shift is significant, and it may explain why this announcement resonated so strongly. Zooming out, this moment fits into a broader pattern. More artists are questioning the traditional touring model, more are prioritizing autonomy over exposure, and more are redefining success, away from numbers and towards sustainability. Britney Spears' announcement, whether intentional or not, reflects that shift. Not every career move needs to be louder than the last. Sometimes the most powerful statement is choosing where not to go back. So this isn't just about a stage she's leaving behind. It's about a version of performance she's choosing instead. One that appears slower, more intentional, and rooted in connection rather than expectation. The real question now isn't whether Britney Spears will perform again. It's what kind of artist she's becoming when the industry no longer dictates the terms. And that leads directly into the next chapter of this story. How artists who step away from traditional systems rebuild creative lives on their own terms, and what that means for the future of live music itself. That's where this conversation continues.